The wind on Zeros 9 didn't howl. It hissed. Dry, electric, and constant, it scratched against Lena Torres's helmet like static on an old radio. She stood at the edge of the dig site's main clearing, arms crossed over a stained exo-vest, boots half buried in orange dust. Before her loomed the thing, 20 meters high, blacker than shadow, streaked in soot and encrusted with vine-like lichen that pulsed faintly in the darkness. The Obsidian Vault, officially labeled X-Prime Structure, one but unofficially. Everyone called it the Tomb. No one knew what was inside. Or maybe they did, but no one wanted to be the one to open it. That was why they sent Lena, restoration foreman, former structural engineer, and recent survivor of 3 failed restoration missions and 1 unfortunate brawl with an ex-boyfriend's mother. She was, by all counts, perfect for the job. Lena lit a stim-chew stick and squinted at the vault. "Okay," she muttered. "What part of this screams clean me?" Behind her, a younger voice chirped. The entire aesthetic, obviously. Look at those pre-ascension glyphs, definitely meant to convey divine internment. Probably ceremonial, maybe metabolic stasis, maybe haunted. Lena didn't turn. "Carlin, I swear, if you say the word haunted one more time, I'm putting you on grime detail." Carlin giggled. "You can't intimidate me. I read about you in the engineering bulletins. You rebuilt a space elevator with chewing gum and rage. And you're making me miss the gum," Lena deadpanned. Dr. Mivra Vance arrived next, stepping with the kind of academic hesitation that came from years of library floors and zero combat training. Her thick goggles made her look like a bug-eyed priestess, which, frankly, wasn't far off. "The structure predates any known era of documented galactic architecture," Mivra said, breathless. "But I believe it aligns with the Syrinx myth. You know, living weapons, dragon-shaped warlords, planetary immolators." Lena finally turned. "Right, those guys. Supposed to have burned 1,000 stars and taken bubble baths in molten gold." Carlin grinned. "Actually, in blood. I checked the council records." Lena raised an eyebrow. "You say that like it's better." There was laughter. "The I-bet dig team, 6 in total, mostly quiet techs, went about calibrating scanners and swabbing grime. But none of their tools worked properly. Drones malfunctioned. Readings came back scrambled. Lena's hoverlift lost its lift and thunked face first into the dust. By day 3, the vault's surface had been cleared enough to reveal that it wasn't just a hunk of stone. It was too smooth, too deliberate. Geometric panels seemed to shift, slightly when not observed. The soot hadn't just settled, it was growing. Regenerating even, and at night the entire vault hummed like a massive beast exhaling in its sleep. On the 6th day, Lena had enough. She marched up to the vault with a toolbox and a scanner that hadn't broken yet. Carlin followed at a cautious distance, armed with snacks and nervous energy. "Don't touch it," Carlin called out. "I'm not licking it," Lena replied. "I'm scanning." The scanner didn't work, of course. It beeped once, vibrated, violently, and died in her hand. "Real helpful, thanks," she muttered, tossing it over her shoulder. That's when she saw it, a faintly glowing rune carved near the center. It pulsed faint gold beneath the soot, as though beckoning. Despite herself, Lena reached forward. As her fingers touched the mark, a jolt snapped through her arm. Her vision flickered white. Her boots slid backward, dragging a line in the dirt. But just as fast as it surged, the energy stilled. She stood, blinking, breath caught in her throat. The vault vibrated beneath her palm, softly, like a purr. "Lena!" Carlin shouted, stumbling forward. Did it electrocute you? Is your hair okay? Are you glowing?" "I don't think I'm glowing," Lena said, flexing her fingers. Her voice sounded odd in her helmet, distant. But it felt like a handshake. "From what?" Mivra asked, suddenly beside them, voice sharp. "I don't know," Lena said. She stepped back, eyeing the rune. It had stopped pulsing, but the vault was warm. Faint tendrils of vapor curled upward as if some internal temperature was rising. "But I think it liked me." Everyone stared. "Great," she muttered. "Now the haunted vault likes me. Terrific." That night, the vault didn't just hum. It whispered. Words no one could make out. Words only Lena seemed to hear. At dawn, the vault no longer whispered. It groaned, low and ancient like tectonic plates shifting beneath a dying sea. Lena Torres stood at the lip of the excavation, eyes bleary from too little sleep and too many system override codes. She had a maintenance drone in one hand and a coffee bulb in the other, and both were leaking. Behind her, 6 sanitation bots hovered, gleaming and eager in their little way, newly reprogrammed, freshly equipped with anti-corrosive solvents and plasma brushes. They beeped at her like puppies. "Well," Lena muttered, flicking soot from her cheek. "Time to scrub the murder lizard." Carlin bounced behind her like an over-caffeinated meerkat, clutching a scanner and a large bag of popcorn. "You're sure about this?" Dr. Vance asked, arms folded as she squinted at the vault. "We're not just desecrating an alien burial chamber?" "If he's buried," Lena said. "He's buried badly." She sent the first bot forward. The vaults, soot cracked and hissed under the cleansing foam, revealing not rock but ridged, iridescent plates. Deep violet scales, etched with gold veining, stretched out beneath the grime like buried armor. They curved upward in elegant spirals, tapering toward edges that resembled obsidian blades. And then they saw the tail, coiled, tense, 20 meters long, layered in plates as thick as blast doors. The vault wasn't a structure, it was a shell, a cocoon, flesh interlocked with alloy. The thing had been waiting. A tremor rippled through the ground. The air turned sharp, ionized. Then, a click, a scale shifted, another click, then a snap, and a sliver of dark gold split open along the vault's upper curvature. A single massive eye blinked, laced with concentric rings of amber, narrowed, adjusting to the light, and it looked directly at Lena. Everyone froze. Even the popcorn stopped rustling. Lena didn't move. She slowly pulled off one glove, raised her bare hand, and said the first thing that came to her mind. "You awake, Scaly?" There was a long, thrumming silence. Then a voice, not out loud but inside her skull. "I am unclean." It was not a roar or a hiss, but a growl wrapped in velvet, echoing like the memory of thunder. The voice scraped through Lena's brain like claws against stone. She blinked. "Yeah," she said aloud. "No kidding. You smell like expired starfish and doom," Carlin squeaked. You're talking to it?" "No," Lena said. "It's talking to me." Dr. Vance leaned forward, already recording. "He's semi-lucid. That's telepathic interface via psi-fiber communication, possibly pheromone-mediated." "My name was Azek Thul," the voice continued, slower now, confused. "Godslayer, last scourge of the outer spiral, bringer of ruin and—" "Yes, thank you, Mr. Resume," Lena interrupted. "What are you doing alive?" A soft growl, a flash of warmth in her skull. "I slept, and the world turned. But your hand did not sting." "You mean the one that zapped me?" she asked. "Right, glad it was a gentle zap." The eye narrowed. A distant claw flexed. Cracks raced up the obsidian cocoon. Lena turned to the team. "All right, everyone. Back to camp, no sudden moves. Carlin, stop filming." "But he's winking at you." "That's not a wink, that's a predator's blink. Back now." The other crew members obeyed. Vance hesitated, then retreated reluctantly. Lena remained. "You're not going to like this," she said to the massive eye. "But you're crusty. Not like Grandpa's vinyls crusty, more like biologically unsafe crusty. You're covered in saprotic growth. I'm calling a biohazard level 7. There was a long pause. "I consent," the voice said slowly, "to cleansing, but only by you." "Me?" "Your touch does not bite, the others bring sting. You may approach, Lena of Grit." "Lena of Grit?" she muttered. "Not the worst nickname I've had." She turned to her comm. "Lena Torres to command. We've got a live biological, massive, semi-conscious, with mental link potential and evidence of metabolic stasis failure. Initiating level 7 restoration." The reply came within seconds. "Negative, stand down, do not engage, do not cleanse." Full biological interaction is prohibited until high command arrives. Repeat, cease and secure. Lena rolled her eyes and killed the channel. Screw him, she muttered. We're not leaving him to rot. She strapped on her full clean gear, plasma-insulated gloves, antiviral face shield, and a back-mounted tank filled with industrial-grade lather. Next came the hover pallets. 6 drones loaded with soft-bristled brushes, electrostatic scrubbers, and precision mist sprayers. Carlin stood at the edge of the site, eyes wide. You're really going to bathe him? She whispered. He hasn't had a bath in 2,000 years, Lena said. I'd call that overdue. The massive eye of Azek Thul watched her step forward with the hover tank in tow. As the foam hissed out in a steamy plume, he rumbled a single, bone-deep word through her thoughts, begin. Steam drifted like ghostly flags from the vault, carrying the scent of ozone, old blood, and lavender industrial soap. Lena Torres stood at the base of Azek Thul's towering form, wielding a scrub wand the length of a rifle. Her hover tank gurgled, on her back, pumping foam through twin drones that hovered at her shoulders. Together they waged war on 2,000 years of filth. Hold still, she grunted, jabbing a bristle brush between 2 talons the size of her torso. You've got fungus colonies in here large enough to apply for citizenship. The ancient predator rumbled low in his chest, a sound like tectonic rocks grinding together. Not angry, just humiliated. This is undignified. You've got barnacles fused with burnt ichor along your wing membranes. This is triage, not a spa day. He shifted slightly, molten breath curling out from his nostrils in steady gusts. It steamed the foam and fogged her face shield. She stepped back and blasted his claws with another wave of sanitizing agent, which hissed like hot oil on contact. Maybe next time. Don't sleep in your own battlefield, she muttered, then added dryly, assuming there is a next time. My kind did not sleep lightly. I was betrayed, sealed, a weapon forged by necessity, then discarded by fear. Lena stopped brushing. They used you. They loved me first, then they needed a beast. When I refused to burn what was innocent, they entombed me. His voice, even in thought, trembled, not with rage, something more brittle. I know the feeling, she said quietly, switching to a soft rinse cycle. Had a marriage once. Man said he liked how grounded I was, till I stopped smiling through his promotions and started fixing things he didn't understand. She scrubbed behind his anterior ear spike. A deep vibratory purr rolled out of his chest. Oh, stars, Lena muttered, raising an eyebrow. You're a galactic cat. I am the Maw Breaker, destroyer of the prime worm of Hrask, ravager of adorable ear scratches, she said, grinning under her mask. Up above, Carlin leaned over the scaffolding with a vat of neutralizer foam. Foreman, I got your pH balancer, but whoa! She slipped, spilled foam all over herself, and started hopping on one foot. I told you not to wear slick boots, Vance shouted, catching her by the lab coat. Not my fault this entire site is a lizard sauna, Carlin cried, flinging gobs of foam from her hair. Azek rumbled with amusement. The small one is loud and flammable. She means well, Lena said, dragging a decontaminant sled across his flank. Give her a few months. She'll invent a way to boil tea with your leftover heat signature. Azek shifted again, massive wings stretching outward from their crusted folds. The membranes unfurled like ancient tapestries, stained and cracked, but intact. Wings are still healthy, Lena noted, spraying down hardened scales. Ligaments might be stiff, but nothing that can't flex with time. You speak as one who has mended ruins before, Restoration Foreman. I fix broken things, she said, then chuckled. Sometimes that includes myself. Just as she reached the final crest of his spine, something clicked sharply in the air. A red flash glinted across the wall. Lena's instincts fired. Get down, she roared, hurling herself sideways as a plasma bolt sizzled through the steam, missing her head by inches. Above, 4 alien turrets had emerged from the far structure, sleek, automatic, and very much awake. Their lenses locked onto Azek's now clean body with pulsing urgency. Defense protocol. Activated. Vance dove behind a pile of equipment. Carlin screamed, "I didn't touch anything, I swear." Lena sprang to her feet and snapped a drone. Control baton from her belt. Drones, pattern gamma. Interference field now. The 6 sanitation bots shrieked upward in perfect sync, deploying shield mist screens and chaff to confuse targeting systems. She sprinted under the cover of foam clouds and leapt onto Azek's shoulder, slamming a firewall emitter onto his ridge. Turrets locked on again. A bolt tore through the mist and struck Azek's wing. He barely flinched. "They were designed to protect me," he growled. "Now they seek to erase me." Lena didn't stop moving. She hurled a repair drone at the turret junction box, detonating it in a puff of sparks. One turret sputtered and dropped. She vaulted to the next ledge, deflecting a bolt with a drone's. Metal carcass. Systems reacting to his vitals. "Thinks he's a threat," she yelled to Vance. "It's coded to destroy anything touching sacred flesh." "Then stop touching him." Vance shouted back. "No," Lena said, gritting her teeth. "Not while he still reeks of ancient trauma and sulfur." Another bolt sizzled by. Azek twisted, shielding her with his wing. "You defend me, with soap and fury." Lena flashed, a wicked grin. "That's kinda my brand." 2 more turrets rose, too fast now. Azek's eye flared. "Enough." He exhaled. Fire. Not red or orange, but a pillar of molten gold laced with green plasma and gravity-bending heat. The turrets evaporated, melted mid-rotation. Stone blackened. Metal warped. The air turned silent, reverent. Lena stood in the scorched silence, blinking behind her face shield. "Was that your breath?" "A fragment," he said. "The fire returns, so as does purpose." Moments later, the steam began to thin. The ruined defense systems crackled and sparked. And then, Azek moved. He stood, fully, uncoiled to his terrifying, glorious height, wings arched, scales shimmering under centuries of grime scrubbed away, gleaming violet and radiant gold, armor glinting like a fallen star. His breath hissed softly now, his chest rising with calm power. Then, before the stunned humans, he bowed, head lowering gracefully toward Lena, eyes closed. "You have unshackled more than my skin," Azek whispered. "You've freed my soul." The sky cracked open with a roar. The gunship descended fast, matte black bristling with weapons, engines howling like the judgment of gods. Its insignia gleamed bright. Earth Restoration Corps, Omega Command. Lena stood at the edge of the eye. Dig site, boots muddy, foam still drying on her sleeves, watching the vessel kick up dust as it hovered just meters above Azek's radiant form. They didn't bother with subtlety. A comm signal blared into her earpiece. "Foreman Torres, stand down. This entity is now classified Omega-class threat. Repeat, stand down." Behind her, Azek loomed, no longer a crumbling fossil entombed in grime. He was glorious, wings partially. Bread, scales clean and reflecting the dying light like living crystal, eyes glowing with steady, watchful heat. He didn't speak, not aloud, not in her mind. But she could feel the tension coiled beneath his skin. His breath had gone molten. "They come not to understand. They come to control." Lena raised a hand toward him. "Not yet," she murmured. The ship's ramp slammed open. A dozen troopers in sealed tactical suits marched down, weapons aimed, and primed. A woman followed them, silver-haired, sharp-jawed, eyes like knives. Director Isel Gran, Omega Division's enforcer. "High Command's leash. Foreman," she barked, visor sliding up. "Back away from the specimen. He's to be sedated, cryo-sealed, and shipped to the Sol research crypt." Lena didn't move. She tilted her head, hands still at her sides. "Specimen?" she said. "You mean Azek?" Gran sneered. "You've bonded with it. That complicates things." "He's not an it," Lena said. "He's a he. He is a Category 4 xenobiological weapon that breached ancient containment protocol." Gran snapped. "We don't give pronouns to Star Eaters." Behind Lena, Azek began to growl. The air thickened. A golden shimmer pulsed at his throat. I will not be caged again. I know, Lena whispered. She turned to the soldiers and raised her voice. You're standing on a grave that became a prison. He wasn't buried because he was a killer. He was entombed because he refused to be one. Gran signaled her troops. Restrain the foreman. Prepare a cold capsule. You so much as aim that cryo bomb and I swear I'll spray you with acid neutralizer. And tell the press you were trying to sanitize history, Lena said, stepping forward. You want to dissect him? Over my dead, exfoliated body. Carlin stumbled in behind her, holding up a data pad, camera blinking. We're live to 3 systems and a xenocultural watch group on Mars, she announced. Say hi to 60 million viewers, Director. Gran froze. The soldiers did too. Go ahead, Lena said, arms crossed. Tell the galaxy you're here to kidnap someone after a bath. A pause. Then Gran's eyes narrowed. You'll be court-martialed for this. You've violated 10 restoration protocols and 3 xenocontact laws. I restored him, Lena said. You trained me to treat relics with care. That's what I did. He's not your weapon, and he's not your artifact. He's a being who deserved dignity. All I did was clean him. She glanced at Azek. UK. Want to start a war over a bath? The silence was long. Finally, Gran raised a hand. Fall back, she ordered. We'll let High Command sort this. As the gunship powered down its weapons, Azek stepped forward, wings brushing the ground. The soldiers instinctively flinched. He paid them no mind. Instead, he lowered his head toward Lena. You stood between me and chains, and you did not raise a sword. You raised care. Vance approached from the shadows, scroll in hand. Her eyes were wide, reverent. I finished translating the inscription on your vault. Lena raised a brow. Let me guess. Beware mighty doom lizard? Vance smiled, not quite. Says, only she who cleanses with care shall awaken the protector. Azek inhaled slowly, the glow beneath his ribs settling into a calm, steady rhythm. Then I am bound, not to conquest, but to those who restore. He turned toward the Aichi, open sky, where stars blinked between storm clouds and ancient dust. His wings flexed, now strong, fully unfurled. Cosmic sails ready to ride. I will go, not as a god, not as a weapon, but as guardian. Carlin's voice trembled. Are you leaving? For now. There are other ruins, other forgotten protectors like me. But I will return. When preservation is chosen over conquest, he leaned his vast head down one last time and gently pressed his forehead against Lena's shoulder. His voice was barely a whisper in her mind. When I burned, they feared me. Now that I shine, they will follow. Then without another word, Azek rose. The winds howled, his wings beating once, twice, and then he launched into the air like a reborn comet. Fire traced his path. The sky lit gold. The galaxy saw him, not as a beast, but as a legend awakened by care. Silence followed. The troopers stared. Carlin sobbed. Vance muttered something about writing a book that would win every interstellar grant ever. Lena just stood there. Soap clung to her boots. She looked down at the foam, then back up, the sky. Well, she said, that's one hell of a client testimonial.